after your ANOVA, and it's called the Tukey test. So did you plan that right before Thanksgiving, the turkey test? I did not, but that's kind of funny. Okay? It's a Tukey, not a turkey test. Okay, so this is, so basically, so here's the assumption. You've completed the ANOVA test and found at least one mean is different. Okay? So we've done that. So I'm going to just give you guys summary statistics. I'm not going to give you the raw data. But now you want to do the Tukey test. Okay? All right, so the Tukey test is basically Q sub 0 equals x1 bar minus x2 bar over the square root of s2, s squared over 2 times 1 over n1 plus 1 over n2. Okay? So that's the equation you're going to want. Okay? Now, in this case, s squared equals the MSE, the mean square error that you already calculated previously. Okay? So that's going to still come in useful.
I think so.
Now, the other thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out your critical value. Okay? So your critical value is Q of alpha, V, and K. We don't have enough, just 2 degrees of freedom. We got to go crazy with this. Okay, so where alpha equals your significance level, V equals n minus k, and k equals your number of means. Okay, so that's going to be, so we don't have an Excel function to do this. We're going to have to use the classical method on this one. Okay? All right, so here's what we want to do as far as our steps. Steps to follow. Okay, number 1, I want to sort the means in descending order. Number 2, I want to compare pairwise differences. Number 3, I want to compute Q sub 0. Number 4, I want to find the critical value. Number 5, I'm going to reject the null, where the null means that the means are equal if Q naught is greater than Q. And 6, I'm going to repeat for all pairs. Okay? So, go ahead and open up your Canvas. And if you go to your worksheets, class worksheets, we're going to go down to 13.2. Okay, so we're going to speed ahead because in this case, so we're saying we've already done the ANOVA test. We did the ANOVA test. We found out our MSE, in this case, is 8.835. These are the 4 means that I got. So I've got 5 for each mean. So okay, so if I've got 5 data points for each mean, what does my, oh, actually, here, let me give you the question here. See which tooth repair method is different. rest we've already completed. Okay? All right, and I think over here I've got it says ascending. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. I'm going to change this to descending though. I think it's a little bit easier. Okay? Honestly, it doesn't matter. Okay, as long as they're sorted. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these. Data, sort. I'm going to sort by the mean, and I want largest to smallest. Smallest to largest works as well, but I like this one. Okay?
How did you do that? Data sort?
Data sort. Did you highlight it just the same way I did? Or do it by column D if it's. Can you not sort it?
Oh, there.
Okay. All right, so a couple things I want to talk a little bit about. Let's pretend I've got 5 data points for each mean. How much is my total data? We've got 20. And then let's figure out my n minus k. So I've got 20 data points. How many means do I have? 20 minus 4 is 16. Okay? And I've got, I'm going to put this down. I've got k equals 4 means. Okay? All right. So we're assuming the ANOVA test is already done. Yes?
Where'd you get the 20?
Because I've got 5 for each, 5 data points for each mean. 5, and I've got 4 of them, so 20. Okay? All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to compare the pairwise differences. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the numerator here. Okay, and let's talk about the pairwise differences. Okay, so as we look at our numerator, I'm going to do the Sillistor minus the cojet. And then I'm going to do the Sillistor minus the ceramic. And I'm going to do the Sillistor minus the Samara. And then I'm going to go to the cojet minus the ceramic. I'm going to do the cojet minus the Samara. And I'm going to do the ceramic minus the Samara. Okay? So I'm going to do this 6 times. I'm going to run this equation 6 times. Aren't you glad it didn't give you all the raw data and make you know it already? We're assuming that's already been done. Okay, so as I do this, my numerator in this case is going to be Sillistor minus the cojet. It's going to be the Sillistor minus the ceramic. It's going to be the Sillistor minus the Samara. It's going to be the cojet minus the ceramic. It's going to be the cojet minus the Samara. And it's going to be the ceramic minus the Samara. Okay? All right, so I've just done the numerator for all of my pairwise differences. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to do the denominator. Okay? Now, the denominator isn't always the same. However, as we look at this, the denominator is going to be the square root of my s squared, which I've already been given. That's my MSE, 8.835, divided by 2, times 1 over 5 plus 1 over 5. So in this case, my denominators are going to be the same. Now, if I've got different n's, that's not going to be the case. So I'll have to throw that on the test just to file you guys up, right? Okay? All right. Fix it. Okay, so I'm going to copy that down. My denominators in this case are going to all be the same. So I've just done that. Now I'm going to figure out my Q naught, Q sub 0. Okay? That's my numerator divided by denominator. So I'm going to get a bunch of different values there. Okay? Everybody with me? All right, so the next thing I need to do is I need to find my critical value. How did you do the Q naught?
Yeah, who did you do?
What? Numerator divided by denominator. Are you good?
Oh, I don't have the numerator.
But you understand what we're doing.
This all goes on the internet.
It's all going on the internet. Taylor's putting it up there. He must have emptied out his phone. Okay? It was sad to delete all my lectures, I'm sure.
I just go to my computer so I can see you forever, Rick.
All right. So, critical value. Now, this is why I told you to keep your pink sheets today. Okay? So, I made sure that everybody go to the very back. You should have a table that looks something like this, or you should have a bunch of pages that look like this. Okay? All right. So, I need to find my critical value of Q, alpha, V, and K. Okay? So as we look at this, if you look at the first page, it says the alpha is 0.05. If you go to the third page alpha is 0.01. Okay? Do you see that? So make sure you're on the right page. Now, I didn't give you an alpha. So what are we assuming in this case? An alpha is going to be 0.05. Okay? So we're going to go back to the first page. Alpha is 0.05. Okay? Now I need to, so I've got my significance level. I need to find my V and my K. My V was n minus K. N minus K was, in this case, 16. So I'm looking at 16 and 4. So my V is across, no, my V is down. My V is down, so I'm looking at 16. And my K is my number of samples was 4. 16 and 4 works out to be 4.046. Do you see that? Okay? All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put that 4.046. I'm going to copy that down. Okay? We're going to reject if Q naught is greater than Q. Okay? So as I compare these two values here, is 1 greater than 4? No. So do not, oops, don't write it there at all. Do not reject. Okay? How about 5? Is 5 greater than 4? Yes, so I reject. How about 5 greater than 4? Reject. 4.1 greater than 4.0? Reject. 4.2 greater than 4.0? Reject. 0.1 greater than 4? Not. Okay. All right, so we've just done that. We've repeated them all. The way I did it, we just did them all as we went. Okay, so as we look at these, what this is telling me is the oscillostor is greater, maybe I should say significantly greater than the ceramic. And we're saying the oscillostor is significantly greater than the Samara. And we're saying that the cojet is significantly greater than the ceramic. And the cojet is greater than the Samara. Okay, so these other ones we do not reject. Now let's look at this for a minute. Okay? This first one says do not reject. We're comparing the oscillostor and the cojet. So we're saying 17 and 16, those are not significantly different. But we are saying that 17 and 10, those are significantly different, and 17 and the other 10 are significantly different. Now that kind of makes sense, right? You can see that these are close together. And actually, if we look at the bottom one here, you can see that those two are close together. It kind of makes sense that these are not significantly different and these are not significantly different, but that is significantly different from that. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is your conclusion column here. Okay? So, that makes sense, right?
Do we need to have a conclusion for the two nodes?
If you want, yeah. No significant difference between oscillostor and cojet. And this one is no significant difference between ceramic and Samara.
How did you find your critical value?
How did you find your critical value?
Yeah.
Okay, so my alpha is 0.05.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm looking for my V. V is n minus k. So n minus k was, in this case, 16, and I got 4 means, right? Okay, so V is, so 16, so V is down here, 16. K, I've got 4 samples, 16 and 4, it's right there. Okay? All right. Now, are you excited to forget all this next week and then come back for the quiz? Okay? So here's what I will say, so just to remind everybody. So I know that next week is a good chance to forget everything and you're going to enjoy it. If you really want to do well on the final, not only will you want to study this, but here's what I will say. Those scenarios that I've posted, there's a really good chance, since I can't give you a computer test, that I'm going to give you on the written test, here's a scenario, what's the proper test to pick? So I would recommend that you can study that, because I know that's what's going to be hard. That's definitely the hard, because if you can get the right test, it just falls, the rest of it falls in place, generally. The other thing is, I will say, I've corrected, I think, barely over a half of your tests now. Some of you are having a problem with this step. Well, you're also having a problem with your no and your alternative. Okay, so practice that. Some of you, you get a p-value of 0.17, which says, do not reject. Some of you will say reject. You'll say do not reject. And then, well, you'll say reject. And then in the next step, you'll immediately contradict yourself. Okay? So do not reject in this case means there is no significant difference. Okay? So if you are still struggling with translating that, which I know is hard, okay, practice that. Okay? Reject means there's a significant difference. Do not reject means there's not a significant difference. So do not reject, not a significant difference. Does that help? Maybe? Some of you? Some of you have it down. That's great. So I would just say practice.
How do you find the scenarios that you posted?
Scenarios are under the assignments in Canvas, almost where the worksheets are, but it's called scenarios. An undated assignment, scenarios right there.
Oh,
Okay? Now, I didn't give you all the answers, but I gave you, a good chunk. So I'll probably put the ones that are not, that I didn't give you the answers on the test. So practice that. That's really important. I'll take your pink sheets now.
Here's a quiz.
Oh. Okay, so have a. Oh, you people that like to keep the quizzes.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah.
So have a great Thanksgiving.